Start.
Okay, so hello. We are Gisberto Evangelisti from Bologna, Italy.
And Franziska Althofer from Zurich, Switzerland.
We are members of the new AO Spine Youth Club. Welcome to the Expert Insight series where we interview. Okay, so hello. We are Gisberto Evangelisti from Bologna, Italy.
And Franziska Althofer from Zurich, Switzerland.
We are members of the new AO Spine Youth Club. Welcome to the Expert Insight series where we interview worldwide expert spine surgeons who kindly share their professional and personal experience with us. In this interview, we are privileged to showcase Dr. Nelson Astur, an orthopedic surgeon in São Paulo who trained in Brazil and also in Tennessee. He is a member of the Brazilian Spine Society, American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, member of the Scoliosis Research Society, North American Spine Society, and the board of director of the Brazilian AO Spine. Welcome, Dr. Astur.
Thank you, Gisberto. Thank you, Franziska. Thank you for it. It's a pleasure being here with you in this interview. And a lot of societies, right?
Yes.
Indeed,
yeah.
yes. So can you please tell us, can you please tell us your full name, specialty, and full current position?
All right, so my full name is Nelson Astur Neto. My family name is Astur. Neto is a suffix, which is equivalent to the third in English, or it's a Portuguese word for grandson. So that's why I just keep Nelson Astur. I am an orthopedic surgeon trained in spine surgery, and I am the current research officer for Latin America, AO Spine Latin America, and also the program director for the Spine Fellowship in Hospital Albert Einstein here in São Paulo, Brazil.
Thank you.
And where did you train and when did you complete your residency?
My medical education was mostly in São Paulo, in my city. I was born and raised in São Paulo, starting medical school in the University of São Paulo to going to ortho residency and spine fellowship in Santa Casa de São Paulo, which is considered to be the cradle of orthopedics here in Latin America. In 2009, what was the year I completed my ortho residency. And after my spine fellowship, I spent a year abroad. I went to Campbell Clinic in Memphis, Tennessee for a pediatric spine fellowship for a whole year. That's when I came back to São Paulo after that. That was 2012, around 2012.
Okay. And could you share with us how you started in spine surgery?
Right. Yeah. Spine surgery. There was always three areas I was passionate about during medical school: general and orthopedic surgery, of course, microsurgery, and neurosurgery. So I saw the conjunction of those three areas in spine surgery. Spine surgery would give me bone reconstruction and fixation, all the screws and everything. Also, I would have abdominal, thoracic, and cervical approaches, which will give me contact with general surgery. And I was very passionate about microscopic surgery, doing small sutures with microscopic assistance and nerve manipulation. So I could do everything in spine surgery. So I actually started my orthopedic residency with a trend to hand surgery, but definitely decided for spine surgery during my senior year and applied for a spine fellowship.
And what do you think are the pros and cons of becoming a spine surgeon?
Well, I think a spine surgery is extremely challenging. You deal with something that is, you don't have room for mistakes, right?
Yeah.
It's a surgery that each step has a huge importance, from dissection to putting screws in. There's no space for mistakes. And also when you're manipulating nerves. So the challenge of spine surgery, it's what drives my motivation to be a better surgeon, because I cannot make a mistake, I would say.
Yeah.
And I was always driven by challenges like that.
So you told us about,
just another thing, I'm sorry.
Oh, really?
It's also something that is very visual. It's something I like. Let's say if you're a general surgeon and you do a intra-abdominal suture of the bowel, no one will see what you've done, your results. They don't know if you're a good surgeon. If you mess up with spine surgery, you have an
so
X-ray,
evident.
a CT, there's the whole evidence of your footprints. So
Yeah.
you can just show your work, show how good you are with post-operative evidence. You cannot hide your results, right?
Also, the patient bend forward or bend on the side.
Yeah, it's very visual. You cannot hide it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cruel sometimes as well, right? Because you cannot hope it gets well, because normally if you didn't do well, it will not be well. So if you think about your professional journey, who inspired you the most to become the spine surgeon you are now, and why?
Yeah, I think I could cite more than one name for that. I'm trying to wrap up, because I had so many important mentors that were active in this journey. I would cite, I think, three people who stands out. My dad, who is an orthopedic surgeon, but he's a foot and ankle surgeon and has always guided me through my decisions in the medical field. I would also cite Dr. Jeffrey Sawyer from Campbell Clinic in Memphis, Tennessee. He was my mentor during my time as a fellow in the United States, and he gave me the principles of my decision-making process in treating pediatric patients. And finally, Dr. Marcelo Waschenberg, who I've been working with in São Paulo for the last 10 years. He's the senior surgeon in the clinics I practice. So up to now, after 15 years practicing, I always ask for his opinion on the most difficult cases.
Okay, thank you.
And did you always want to become a spine surgeon, or do you have a different profession in mind? Or another second choice, let's say.
Yeah, no, I always thought about either hand or plastic surgery. So I liked so much microsurgery and doing all those small sutures of veins and nerves that I wanted to work with that. So I could do that either as a plastic surgeon on reconstructive surgery or hand surgery. So I decided to go the orthopedic way for hand surgery. But during my residency, when I had my first contact with spine surgery and seeing all the factors that I mentioned before, I finally made my final call for spine surgery in my last year. So I gave up on hand surgery.
Yeah. And outside medicine, do you have another profession you would have done?
I'm a very artistic guy, so I would say maybe architecture.
Oh, similar.
I will still be working with structures and columns and
roads.
So architecture, I always had liked architecture.
Okay. And can you remember a case from which you learned a lot, or even like the young spine surgeons can learn a lot, a specific case?
Yeah, those are the cases we tell about we tell our fellows about, right? There's this one case I always tell my fellows, which I'm very proud of. It's a 4-year-old kid with a previous history of vertebral sarcoma at 1 year of age that underwent oncologic resection of his vertebra elsewhere at that time, and had no spinal fixation. They only did the tumor resection. So he was referred to me after developing a 3-4 doses. and was acutely paraplegic due to a spinal cord compression. So we started surgery for cord decompression at that time with kyphosis reduction and instrumentation, and motors were going down during the most time of the surgery, and we couldn't get an anterior vertebral support that I had planned. And then I decided to end surgery only with posterior fixation, trusting our cord decompression. That was a very stressful surgery, but he was the same age as my son at that time. Yeah. So you think a lot about that. But he had an amazing post-op neuro recovery and progressively gained his lower limb strength and walking ability again. And later on, 2 years later, at the age of 6, he comes back to me with a new thoracic kyphosis due to the absence of that anterior support, and again with acute paraplegia. So we went back to surgery, and this time motors were totally absent before starting surgery. So the neurophysiologist just told me that I can't see anything here. I don't think he's coming back to his walking ability this time. So we went back to surgery, and this time motors were totally absent. And he was older. We could get an expandable cage and revise all his posterior instrumentation and aligned better his spine, but with few expectation of his neuro recovery. And again, he starts, after surgery, he starts to move his legs post-op and recovers walking ability. So the lesson learned there is the amazing ability kids have to recover their lost neurofunction. And I always tell my fellows that we should never give up our efforts to provide the best condition for the spinal cord for this to happen.
That's a very interesting case. Thank you so much for sharing. Yes, very impressive.
And if you could turn back time, what advice would you give to the young you? What would you have done differently, maybe?
I think if I can meet myself back in time, I would tell me to well, of course, to stay focused, enrich my medical education with fellowships and visitations, just like you're doing right now. I was a research fellow before, and especially abroad. That's the best way to build a good network of good surgeons that will support you in your future, especially when you have your own projects, when you're getting involved with governance and societies and everything. And also when you have the opportunity to send your own fellows somewhere, right? But the most important thing is, if you can go back, never lose track of family, wife, your kids, and always remember to spend a lot of quality time with your family and friends. It is still the most important thing. You have to.
Yeah.
You can't forget that, because.
And would you?
You never go back in time to.
Concerning this, would you consider to work part-time for 2 years in your?
I don't think you can do that as a spine surgeon. That's the problem. I definitely consider it, but I don't think you do that as a spine surgeon, because spine surgeries, especially if you are a complex spine surgeon, if you work with complex deformity, complex reconstruction, there's no way to do that part-time, because your simple cases will take you at least 6 hours, up to 10 hours. I don't know. If you work with small decompression, minimal invasive, endoscopic surgery, maybe you can do that. But at the end, there will be so many patients looking for you in your clinics that you can't really manage part-time. You either are a full spine surgeon or not.
Yes, but I guess that we are going in that direction somehow, especially because in the next future, the majority of spine surgeons will be women, and that's a fact. It's not.
Yeah.
So there's gonna be that part of time, really, 1 year, 2 years, in which they need. Also, as a father, I needed it. I remember, and I would have really appreciated to have at least the first year of my kids to stand back just a bit to reduce at the 50% my my workflow. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for sharing.
You can. I know what you mean. You can do that if you create a very strict hours during your day.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough.
You're gonna
organize.
You're gonna have to give up on a lot of cases because you only do one case a day, and maybe you won't do clinics on that day. You also have to see your patients, so you have to build a strong spine team that will support you for the things that are not planned. And I can give you. My wife she's a vascular surgeon, so she is now trying to do part-time. That's the only way I can be a full spine surgeon, because she helps me a lot, and she's the one who does my anterior approaches for an ALIF. So we do surgery together. Why we have surgery this Sunday.
Okay.
That's what happens when the end of the year is coming. You have to rush some of the cases.
Yeah.
But she's managing that to be a part-time surgeon, so she can take care of the kids while I am in the hospital. But that's something you have to build a team to make a good work.
You can do. Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Totally. So you talked a lot about fellows. Is there a character trait you observe in young surgeons that might be helpful to develop a career, or others that you see like, oh, that might be challenging, or does rather the opposite?
I would say the fellows that are doing surgery with me, and they are just following my steps, and even if I am the one who's doing all the main steps of surgery, but he's always ahead of me, like he knows what I'm going to do next. So it's like he's inside my mind, and I am the one who's doing surgery. So this is the type of fellow that's going to turn into a very good surgeon, right? It doesn't matter if he's not really getting his hands dirty in surgery, but he's following the steps. He's always with me and thinking with me. Opposite to a fellow that's only there just because he has to be there, and he's just like doing suction, he's looking around, he's just worried about when is the surgery over. I know sometimes we are tired, but those are the fellows that are really not into surgery. And the fellow that ends surgery and he still has the shine in his eyes, you see a spark on his eyes, like waiting for the next case, and he wants to go back to literature and try to give answers to whatever doubts were raised during surgery. Those are the ones that are really passionate about, and we'll dive deep into spine surgery, and we will probably be the next key opinion leaders.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Where do you see the most promising fields for research within spine surgery?
I think as spine surgeons, we are still in debt with our patients in terms of neurological recovery after a cord or any neuro injury. It's still very frustrating for patients who become paraplegic or tetraplegic that there are no expectations for recovering and having their abilities back. So I think for the next decades, I see promising research in two fields that will give us good perspectives on this. On one side, there is biotechnology to recover spinal cord damage. And on the other hand, huge developments on robotics and exoskeletons technologies to rehabilitate these patients. I think those are what we are still in depth with the population. We still need to have better outcomes on this field.
So as you mentioned, robotics is a very popular topic right now.
Yeah.
Are there any trends in spine surgery that you think there might be just a trend and disappear again? And is there also something you think that's never getting out of fashion? That's like a classic?
It's the same question we had when we started navigation. I was trained with freehand screws, and I love it. You just show off to your fellows, to the other surgeons, how good you are. Freehand screws. You don't need X-ray. You don't need fluoroscopy. You just put all your screws. Then you do a final X-ray, and it's all perfect. But as better as you are, doesn't matter if you do like 100 screws and you're doing screws every day. It doesn't matter if you have 99% of perfect screws. You just need one screw to do a big damage and to remember it for the rest of your life. So when navigation started and we had that tool to be a better surgeon, even if you're already a good surgeon, when you start navigating, you don't want to go back, right? It's just like when you're parking your car and you have the beeps from your parking sensors.
Yes.
We are used to parking our cars for our whole life without that. But now that we have that, we don't even look to the side mirrors. We just park it and trust the beeps, right? That's the same with navigation. For robotics, it's the next step for navigation. And I see robotics not just as putting screws in an optimal position, but in the bigger picture, you're starting your surgery just before cutting the patient because you're planning your surgery with the perfect position, not for each vertebra, but for the whole spinal reconstruction. And when you're doing navigation, you're most worried about that only level. With robotics, you're combining the positions for every vertebra and reaching a better alignment along with the pre-bend of rods. Mm-hmm. So I don't see robotics only as an intraoperative tool, but as a pre-op, intra-op that will lead you to better results in terms of spinal reconstruction and prevention of PJK, right?
So you never do freehand?
I think it's coming to stay.
You stopped doing freehand, or you just still use mainly robot now?
No, I still do a lot of freehands, especially because we don't have navigation in every hospital here in São Paulo. Mm-hmm. I'm lucky to work in a hospital where I have navigation, and we're buying our first robotic arm this month. It's arriving this month. It's actually already here in Brazil. We just have to set it up. I had previous experience with robotics abroad, outside, but here in Brazil, we are just starting to work with robotics as a routine. Mm-hmm. I work with navigation as a routine, but robotics we are starting now.
And do you still teach your fellows freehand?
Or yeah, do you go navigation? I have to because especially fellows here in Brazil, and I would say Latin America, they won't have navigation or robotics available in most of the hospitals. So there's no way I will only teach them navigation, and when they go to their practice, they won't have that. So they have to freehand screws. And also because if you are good at freehand screws, you know when not to trust navigation. When something is wrong, when somebody punched the sensors, the antenna, and all your your navigations is screwed up, right?
So you think it's still critical to learn freehand, and you cannot just learn navigation. You have to learn freehand for sure.
I think, yeah, I think we are seeing a generation of surgeons that are so minimally invasive that let's talk about like perk screws or small incisions for ALIF, lateral surgery. If you have any complication and you need to convert to open surgery, when you have to enlarge your incision, this new generation won't know how to deal with that. Like if you have to, I don't know, deal with a vascular injury or open your wound to reposition a perk screws that is not good, you have to know that because it will happen. At some point it will happen. So I still think it's crucial to learn the old ways, to master the new technology.
Okay. And to end our interview, let's engage in a quick game in which we ask a question and you reply with a quick and fast answer.
Right.
Okay. So, what is your hobby?
I play piano. I play classical piano. That's what I do to relax.
Really nice. And what is your favorite book?
I don't know if it's gonna look nice, but it's definitely The Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I read everything Tolkien wrote.
Oh,
Still
that's funny.
Best book ever.
And your favorite food?
I'm sorry, say again?
Favorite food?
Oh, food. Brazilian barbecue, not American barbecue.
Amazing. Yeah.
Brazilian
the
barbecue.
One with
just Brazilian steakhouses.
Yeah. This one here in New York City is very good. And favorite surgery?
Scoliosis. Nothing beats scoliosis day. Yeah.
Okay. And a word that defines spine surgery. Just one word to define spine surgery.
Challenge.
We hear that often.
Yeah, we already heard that. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we already reached the end of our interview. Thank you so much for joining us. We had a lot of fun. It was very interesting. Again, very new insights into a life of a spine surgeon. And yeah, thank you very much to inspiring young spine surgeons from the AO Spine Youth Club. And we hope to see you one day in person at an AO meeting.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It was a really fun, really nice talk. And I really hope we can see in Bangkok in Global Spine Congress.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Or maybe in Rio also.
Yeah, in Rio for sure.
2005, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. Or maybe New York.
Oh, yes. Let us know if you have time in the snow with us. We're here. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Right, guys.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.